Welcome back to Heaven My Cake. I'm Lenora, and today we're going to be making geometric cake hearts, or sometimes called cake gems. They are filled with cake, coated with chocolate, and can be decorated in many ways. I began by mixing cupcakes in a bowl with a tablespoon of frosting to bind them together. Next, I melted red colored chocolate and milk chocolate candy wafers in 30-second intervals until completely melted. To use the mold, I cut each heart individually to make it easier and faster to work with. Once my chocolate was cooled, I poured it into the mold about halfway. I then moved the mold around in my hand to cover it with a layer of chocolate. Once covered, I poured out any excess chocolate from the mold. To ensure the chocolate sits evenly and to remove any air bubbles, I tapped the mold on the counter a couple of times, then placed the molds in the fridge to harden for 5 minutes. Once the first layer is set, I added a second layer of chocolate the same way I did the first layer. A second coat will make the side strong and hold its shape. If the chocolate is thick, use a paintbrush or butter knife to lightly spread the chocolate up the sides of the mold. After removing the excess, I then placed my mold back in the fridge to set. Once the second layer of chocolate is set, it's time to put the cake mixture into the molds. Take the cake mixture, roll it into a small ball, about 1.5 tablespoons, and evenly press the cake down into the molds. Once the gem is filled with cake, place the molds in the fridge to firm up. To cover the back of the cake gem, take melted chocolate and spread it over the cake, making sure there aren't any holes or gaps. Then place the mold in the freezer for a couple minutes to harden. I prefer the freezer because it's guaranteed to be firm enough to remove the gem from the mold. This prevents it from crushing or cracking. To remove the cake gem from the mold, slowly peel the mold away from the gem and carefully pop it out. If you notice extra chocolate on the sides of the gem, take a knife and carefully cut around the outside edge so it has a cleaner look. To make the fondant rose, I used a rose fondant mold. I kneaded a small piece of fondant to make it soft and pliable, then colored it pink. I then rolled it into a small ball and pushed it into the mold. Since it's a small piece of fondant, it sets quickly and pops right out of the mold. To drizzle chocolate, place melted chocolate into a piping bag and cut a small hole at the end of the bag. Start from a corner and drizzle going back and forth. To add sprinkles, and make sure to do it quickly because the chocolate will harden and the sprinkles won't have anything to stick to. To add the fondant rose, I put a dab of chocolate on the back of the rose, which acts like glue, and placed it on the cake gem. Here's my daughter making her own cake gem that I will cut into so we can see the inside. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're having your cake at home, be sure to hashtag HeavenMyCake to show off your creations. Like, subscribe, and take care.